Brunello di Montalcino is regarded as one of the finest wines in Italy. It hails from southern Tuscany. They're big, powerful wines made of Sangiovese, which locally the clone is known as Brunello or Sangiovese Grosso, yet they still have this unique elegance to them. The problem for producers is they have to be aged at least 4 years after the harvest date before they're released. 2 of those need to be in oak. For Brunello di Montalcino Reservas, they need to be aged for at least 5 years. That means the wines are sitting in the cellar. Producers are not making money. The Brunello di Montalcino DOCG was one of the first in Italy, was formed in 1980. 1984, this DOC was formed, Rosso di Montalcino. Rosso di Montalcino is like the second wine of Brunello producers. It's sold and drank younger. The aging requirement is only 1 year after the harvest. 6 months of that is in oak. Rosso di Montalcino can be made from younger vines, or it's a wine that can be declassified. It can be Brunello that producers don't think is good enough to be their typical flagship. Brunello di Montalcino can be declassified and then sold earlier. Both wines are made of Sangiovese Grosso, a clone of Sangiovese meant to make richer, more structured wines. One complaint of mine is Rosso di Montalcino is made in an inverted triangle. Usually when you have producers that make a prestigious wine, usually make an entry-level wine, a bigger volume of that, and then your flagship wine, you make lesser volume of that. Because Brunello commands bigger prices, most producers make Brunello di Montalcino and make smaller amounts of Rosso di Montalcino. That also contributes to the price point. One of the other criticisms is that these wines can be a tad expensive for what you get. The most expensive Rosso di Montalcinos can be hundreds of dollars, although you're generally going to spend anywhere from $24 to $35 in the US. When you're in Europe, you can spend like 10 euros, which is awesome. At that price point, you can get the first wines of some other prestigious Italian appellations like Chianti Classico, Vino Nobile. However, I feel like paying for Rosso di Montalcino is worth it because it's a distinctive style on its own. I generally prefer to drink them over Brunello di Montalcinos. The third criticism is style of wines. Some producers make them as a fruity, light style, as a cash cow. Some make them as baby Brunellos. And some Rosso di Montalcinos are kind of ignored and just left as afterthoughts, just made and sold. That being said, in the US at least, or any wine bar, wine shop, if there's a Rosso di Montalcino on the menu, since there's less of it, I know that the shop owner or whoever's in charge has curated, has bought a very good one, and I usually always purchase that wine. I've got 6 Rosso di Montalcinos ranging anywhere from $24 to $35. Let's see what they taste like. I know it's Sangiovese, but I'm tasting out of my Riedel Pinot Noir Performance glass. I love this glass. I love the tulip shape. I think it should be excellent for Rosso di Montalcino. I have a link in the description box if you want to check it out. As always, I Coravin these and I had somebody mix them up for me. Let's start out with wine number 1 here. Chianti Classicos, when they're young, can be a little bit tight. They can be a little sharp with the acidity, the tannins. Rosso di Montalcinos are generally a little bit fruitier, easy to enjoy right out of the gate. Out of the 6 here, 5 of them are brand new releases, 2022, and I have one from 2020 because that's just what was on the market. Let's take a look at wine 1 here. Typical Sangiovese flavors. Sour cherry, Tobacco City. Usually with Rosso di Montalcinos, I feel like they're just a little fruitier than Chianti Classicos. The fruit takes way over the earth. White pepper, this is exactly what I want in Sangiovese. On the palate, you got that little tangerine peel acidity. You have the sour cherry type flavors. You have tannins, but Brunello tannins can be pretty aggressive. Rosso di Montalcino tannins, usually they grip, but they more massage your palate. They're not as harsh. I like the finish here. If it had a little more length, it'd be ethereal. This is kind of stereotypical Rosso di Montalcino flavors. You have to take note, these wines might not score the highest because my bar is set really high for Sangiovese, but it doesn't matter. This is the style of wine I like to drink, even though they're not going to get obnoxiously high scores. But that is really good. Let's move on to number 2. Wine number 2 looks a little darker. It has a little riper fruit. It feels like it has more sour cherry and red plum flavors, while the first one was all sour cherry. Red plum, mahogany, not as much cedar type notes. It just smells a little denser, a little bigger. That is denser, but it's not too fat, not too plummy. I think that's an excellent wine. Let's move on to number 3. Oh, we have a roast in the oven. I haven't been eating as much meat lately, but I'm excited to have some of these wines with meat. Number 3. 3 is more mineral up front, more than the fruit, and not earthy tones, like almost like the surface of rocks or wet stones after a rain. But then the sour cherry does come through in a big way. Wet stone sour cherry. This doesn't have as much cedar, but it has some tobacco type notes. This smells really pretty. It's a little floral. This is really good. Light on its feet, has some tannic grip. It's floral, it's elegant. This is even made in like the powerful yet elegant style I want in Brunello producers. Sometimes Brunello producers, the wines can be too oaky for me, too powerful. I like it when they're like this. They're elegant, but there's lots of layers. I think 3 is a kick-ass wine. I don't like to swear on this channel, but that was good. Oh, 4? Also excited, Sour Cherry City and cedar sour, and it's explosive, man. Oh, it's like the cedar sour cherry. That's just what comes up. These are all similar flavor profiles, although subtle differences. Although number 2 was the only one that had some kind of red plum thing going on. Now here's the thing, number 4, fans of the big and bold are gonna like this style a bit more. I slightly like number 3 more for its elegance, but number 4 is powerful. Number 4 is really like a traditional baby Brunello. Number 3 was like an elegant baby Brunello. That's good wine. Number 5, these are awesome wines. 5 has some of that Tuscan funkiness that I like, a little bit of VA. Kind of like a traditional, there's even some graphite type notes in here. I just got back from judging Mundus Vini 2024. I was judging with a lot of winemakers. They might see some of these aromas as a fault, but I like them. I've noticed that consumers, they like some, me included, like some of those like kind of faults, or like little dimples on a person, or a freckle even. That's good. I like that. Fans of traditional Tuscan wines gonna be right at home. Number 6. 6 also has a traditional. 5 has like a little more VA. 6 is just funky in a good way. It's not just coming out. These are all subtle differences between the two. Funk, earth, sour cherry, some like kind of mulch type flavors. Pretty grippy. They're pretty tannic, pretty structured. Again, to me, 6 is also like a baby Brunello style. Man, that's why scores don't matter here. You gotta listen to flavor profile, the way the wine sounds structured. These are all wines that I'm really excited to drink. You ready for the reveal? Okay, I am a little biased because I'm Sangiovese all day, every day. I love these wines. They don't have the most bombastic scores in the world, but it doesn't matter. Like, if I tasted these next to Brunellos obviously are going to get higher scores because of the length structure. But these are the wines I just want to drink. They're easy drinking. You can enjoy them with pizza, by themselves, with meat, and they're affordable. Let's start out with wine 1. Sour cherry, it was just Sangiovese to a T. If there was a little bit more length, I think it would be excellent. It's stereotypical, not only Rosso di Montalcino, but Sangiovese. Soft tannin, so I think a lot of people are gonna like it. Length, I just want a little bit more. So I'm gonna go 89 points, but I still think it's well worth checking out, especially if it's one of the more affordable options. It is a delicious wine. Let's take a look here. This is the Pinino Rosso di Montalcino 2020. This comes in at 33 bucks. This is the only one with a touch of age on it. And I am surprised because I did not pick up on the age at all. In fact, I thought number 2 was the one that would have a little bit more age. This is a very under the radar producer on the south side of the village of Montalcino, owned by a Swiss family. Their Reserva, their Pinot, it's a single vineyard Brunello di Montalcino. Reserva is one of the most memorable Brunellos I've ever had. I've had verticals of this before, and some are just marvelous, delicious wine, something you should seek out from a small producer. That's the cool thing about Montalcino. A lot of producers are pretty small, except Banfi, which is one of the producers that kind of put Brunello on the map here. Number 5 was the one I said had a little volatile acidity, that slight vinegar note, that balsamic note that they call in Italian traditional. You still have all the sour cherry flavors. You just had that layer of VA. I said fans of traditional Tuscan style wines are really gonna love it. I gave it 90 points. I think it is delicious. Let's see what it is. Let's see what it is, shall we? Okay, this is the Altesino Rosso di Montalcino 2022. This comes in at 24 bucks, the most affordable wine of the bunch. Showing strong, you know, when I'm in Montalcino or I'm in Tuscany, I buy this wine because there sometimes in shops it can be like 10 euros. Obviously in the US it's a little bit more, 24 bucks. Those that like traditional Tuscan wines are gonna love it. Altesino makes a lot of single vineyards that are worth checking out. Actually, win in a lot of blind tastings that I do. I thought number 2 would be the aged one. It's the only one that had sour cherry, but also had that red plum and had more of the mahogany type flavor. When I used to play guitar a lot, I had a Martin D15. It was a mahogany guitar, and I used to love to smell the sound hole, that rich mahogany flavor. 90 plus points. For those that like a bigger, bolder style of Rosso di Montalcino, 90 plus points. This is, I'm surprised because this is an elegant producer. This is the Martoccia Rosso di Montalcino 2022. Beautiful label. This comes in at 28 bucks. Their Brunellos are more on the elegant side, which I like, which I'm surprised their Rosso is a little bit bigger. I actually bumped into this producer in Serbia, of all places, at the Open Balkan Wine Vision show. It's kind of like pro wine for the Balkans, and they had a little Italian stand, and I met the producer. I thought some of the wines were outstanding. 28 bucks. Beautiful label, small producer for those that like the bigger and bolder. But just note, the Brunellos are more elegant, so it's funny how it's opposite. Okay. Number 6, also one with a touch of funk, some type of malty type flavors along with the sour cherry. When I'm saying funky, it's not like super smelly, but it's not crystal super clean wine like some people like it. This has a little bit of character. I really enjoyed it. Fans of traditional Tuscan wines are gonna like it. I liked it a lot. I like that fresh, like ground mulch type flavor that you use in your yard. 91 points. Still have the sour cherry like flavors. Let's see how it is. 91 points. This is the Campogiovanni Rosso di Montalcino 2022. This comes in 28 bucks as well. This is by San Felice. San Felice also makes really affordable Chianti Classicos. This is their Brunello di Montalcino project. I think that's excellent. Fans of traditional Tuscan style wines are gonna go gaga over it. Okay, the top 2, these were splitting hairs. These 2 were the most baby Brunello out of all these wines here. I thought that for the big and the bold, more traditional style Brunellos, I think people are going to like number 4 the most. Lots of cedar, sour cherry. It was pretty tannic. It was pretty explosive. It was pretty rich. I gave it 92 points. For a Rosso di Montalcino, that means it's worth seeking out. Let's see how expensive it is. 92 points. This is the Tenuta Buon Tempo Rosso di Montalcino 2022. This comes in at 26 bucks. Organic producer. I used to buy this Rosso di Montalcino when I lived in Singapore. One of the wine bars I used to frequent had it. I would buy that often. I'm glad to see that that shows well blind. Small producer. They only make like 2 Brunellos. Always consistent quality. They make Sangiovese and Amphora that I have not tasted yet. I'm going to get on that. This is well worth checking out at 28 bucks, especially those that like bigger. The top wine for me, although I don't think it's going to be the top wine for everybody here, this is more kind of the new age style baby Brunello. When I talk about that, there's lots of layers. It's elegant. It's floral. 92 plus points. I thought it was very, very good. You probably saw when I was tasting, I got super excited. This is really good. Light on its feet, has some tannic grip. It's floral. It's elegant. Let's see here. Producer I've been really impressed with. I did not know about this producer. This is the Pietroso Rosso di Montalcino, 35 bucks, 2022. Look at this classic label. This is one of these Italian producers with this a label that's, you know, not that modern. Maybe needs, some people would say updated, and I say no, keep it this way. Excellent. I love their Brunellos. That's the beauty about Brunello di Montalcino, a lot of small producers. Tell me, do you ever drink Rosso di Montalcino, or do you prefer Brunello? Any favorite producers? I'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments below.